Hi everyone, this is Patty with Dovetail Office Consulting KFT, and I want to help you manage money better. This is Finance 101 to 103. You will see two other videos where I just talk about money management, but here I want to go into the details for better money management. So let's get started. Buy a Lexus. Do I have your attention now? You're thinking, how can I do that when I have hardly any money to spend on anything? There was a time in my life when I was just there, but I needed another car and I had a budget. I knew I could only spend $6,000. That's not very much to spend on a car, but I saw this used Lexus online. Could it really be? Or is this a piece of junk? I don't know. So my husband and I went to see this car and it was in pretty good shape, except that it had little chips of paint. And I was like, he can touch that up. So we ended up buying this car. And my maintenance guy told me the reason that these cars are so expensive is because they use better parts. They use strong copper wires and just so they don't fall apart easy. But people who buy them can afford to buy a new car, so they just trade them in. Well, sedans aren't really good resellers for them. So they were selling this car at a very inexpensive price. And I just got blessed by this car, and it even had nicer features because it had heated seats and things like that. So I enjoyed my Lexus for a while until I could afford a better car. And I want to recommend you to try, if you can buy something that you need, get quality. Go to a thrift store and look for some brand names. Some people put clothes in there they've hardly ever worn with the tag still on. So whenever you're shopping, be a good negotiator and look for those opportunities where you can get a bargain. So let's begin looking at the finances. And I am going to show you a spreadsheet, but I want to explain to you my rolling cash flow budget first. And what you want to do is put all of your bills together, get everything out, and have them in a stack in front of you and organize them. All the utilities together, the mortgage payment, the credit card statements, everything you spend money on, and your income, whatever income you're getting, all of it. Your net income is the money you can actually use. So put those things in order and start writing them down, and then decide what is fixed, what is variable, what is at your discretion. A fixed bill is the thing like your rent. It's the same every month. And a variable can be changing, like your electric bill might go up and down, or your phone bill. Discretion are things that you can choose to buy when you have the cash flow. Now, you have to go to the grocery store, but you don't need to buy a steak. So think about that when you're shopping and make a grocery list and try to stick to it. And I don't recommend the big box stores because we tend to buy too much. So, and then there's to set a goal for getting your debt lowered. So make a list of these bigger debts like credit cards and medical bills and figure out a date of when you really believe that you can get rid or lower that bill to increase your cash flow. Then you're going to sort these bills by the date due and keep track of this. And look at everything on a monthly, weekly basis so you keep going forward in what you're doing. And I ask that you like, share, and subscribe to my channel so that I can help make more of these videos. And also a little caveat, a word of warning, one size doesn't fit all. I'm talking to people in different places in the world. I don't know all the rules and the laws. And while I do a lot of accounting, I am not keeping up with professional laws about things like that. So you may need to consult with a legal or professional or CPA to make sure that what you're doing is legitimate. So my ideas are suggestions to help you, but you might need to verify in your locality what you can and cannot do. This is the spreadsheet that I use. I use Excel. If that doesn't meet your needs, I would recommend some other form, but this will give you an example and maybe you can download it and make it bigger. But I go through and I make a list of every single thing by category and by the name of who I'm paying. Then the income and the expense are in two different columns, and at the bottom they need to balance. And then I say things about them. I identify whether it's fixed, how often I have to pay, how much it is a month, how much it is a year. And I complete this sheet and I leave space to add to it as things come up that I might not know about, or maybe some new dental bill or something arrives and you have to add it in. So leave space and complete this document, and then we can move forward in how to manage it. And when I say everything, maybe you have an annual insurance or tax bill, put it on there. You might not know the total amount yet, but give it an estimate. So here are some tips from my experiences. Good faith. That's when you write a letter to one of your creditors and say, I owe you X amount of dollars and I'm aware of that. But unfortunately, I've had a situation, my spouse lost a job, something happened, and I can only pay you a small amount of money every month. Now, if it's a credit card company, they might say the minimum payment is this. And you might say, well, I can only pay half of that. Well, they won't like it, but sometimes they'll go along with it because they're getting something. So you have to decide what you're able to do. And as I mentioned, not everything works in every situation. So you have to try it and see what happens. And then try to defer a payment if you're in a bad situation. And that is when you ask a bigger loan company, such as a car payment, can you put it on at the end of your loan? They will charge for this, but if you're in a crisis and you need that $300 or $400 this month, they might allow you to do it, but you can only do it once or twice. Negotiate everything. If you have to go buy a car, don't take the price on the sticker, and don't let them tack on all sorts of things you don't need, like undercoating. And so be careful what they're putting in there. Look at the bottom line, not just the monthly payment, but how many years you're going to have to pay on that, and plan for that. And involve others, your spouse, your family. Maybe you're a single person. Have an accountability person that you can talk to on a regular basis about how you're doing and managing your money. Ask people to pray about it. Oh, and if you have teenagers, they're going to need to learn how to manage money too. So talk to them about what you're doing and maybe help them work on a budget that can manage for them as they get ready to go away to school or start their own life outside of your home. And if they're over 18, they ought to be making a contribution. Finally, let's review. If you've been doing this for about 3 months, get out your bank statements, your credit card statements, and make sure you've included everything. And look and see how well you're managing this and if you can put more money in savings. So make an assessment of what's going on or if something new comes up that you need to add. And in new categories, and be sure to roll this around so you can see what's coming up and you're not surprised by due dates. Um, maybe you can't afford to go on a vacation, but you can take a staycation. Go out to dinner for a weekend, plan something fun that doesn't cost a lot of money. Even go to the park. When we were young, my mom didn't have a lot of money, so we would take a picnic lunch and go to a museum in the park. That didn't cost anything except getting there. So we still could have fun without a lot of money. And you can do that with gift giving too. You can make presents for people. I want you to let me know how you're doing. And if any of this helped you, or if it's confusing and you don't quite understand what I'm talking about, I want to clarify. So please say some things in the comments and like, subscribe, and share so more people can get help managing money better. Thank you.